Good evening, everybody. Russell Wright, Network Empire, Theme Zoom, and many other amazing companies created by an amazing team. And gosh, I just got off a 4-hour webinar. So thank you. Good night. I'm just totally kidding. There she is. Sue has also been on a 4-hour webinar. But you know what they say. If you want something done, give it to Sue. I mean, a busy person.
Right.
Jazz, you're not allowed to be on this webinar. I'm removing you. You were just on the other. You're bugging me for 3.5 hours already.
I like it. I like it.
These girls, the girls are starting to gang up on us. It's just, I don't know how I feel about
There's
this.
no start about that.
Jim Crew says you are the Energizer Bunny. I agree, Jim. Folks, we just had an amazing webinar. I'm still trying to regroup. So I am mixing an energy drink here. I'll be sure that I mute.
Tequila?
As you can see, we have a countdown timer happening, next level training automatic PinVid course. And the special announcement just before I remove this from the screen is that Jimmy Kelley's battery method is now included in that standalone training, independent of our bundles. I wanted you guys to, whoops, oh, violets, violet fields. Also, know that this is going to be quite entertaining because I am delirious after 4 hours and 7 hours of work prior to that, and very little sleep because I met with my tax attorney for an hour and a half this morning before that. So that is my day. And all right, so here is what we're going to do. We have people rolling into the room. Can you please? No, I actually love my tax attorney, Jazz. I'm my new guy, accountant, tax accountant. Just fantastic. So here's the thing. If you can hear me, please give me a 1. And if you should have heard Sue as well. And if you can not hear me, please give me a 2.
Right.
So the big question is, oh, okay, we have a flood of people coming in here too. All right, so the focus of our last event was we were going to just do the same thing. And the reason I did that is because we had sort of a framework of which Sue adheres to not. Which I'm just teasing you, girl. It was all good. It was all good. We essentially, here's what we planned to do. Here's what we did in the last event. And people said it was I've gotten a lot of feedback from a huge number of Skype people that have been contacting me since that last event. Just so you know that I'm not kidding. It's like the dashboard is so lit up that I can't answer everybody on time. I keep adding them. But what I'm looking at is, hi, Andy. Andy's back too. Andy, you're also not allowed to do 2 webinars in one. No, I'm just kidding you, brother. Wow, we must be that good, eh?
We should mix it up.
We should mix it up. So you're not going to, why, just because 2 people decided to be silly and come on both webinars?
Here. It's more than 2 people. Hey guys, give me a 1 if you were just in the last webinar, and a 2 if you don't know what the heck we're talking about.
Oh, good Lord. All of you go have dinner or something. Look, I know you're raving fans, but this is the Hubble Nubba Lubba. Hi, Graham. Graham's new. Graham, you're the only one on this call that wasn't on the last one. I'm just messing with you. Hi, Paul. Looks like you're okay. You had dinner already? Greg, what did you have for dinner? Okay. Why does the video battery method not work for me? It probably does, and probably because you haven't learned it, because it's never talked, and you weren't at live, and that's the only time it's ever been discussed.
Jazz was not at live.
Why does it not work for you?
That is correct.
Because you don't know it. Oh, she's going laughing my ass off. Okay, she's trouble, and I'm not. Jazz.
She's been trying to get you in trouble.
You just been her. What?
Deliberately.
Oh, she's talking about why does the DAS method not work? Oh, I get it, because she read the thing. Give me a break. Well, because that's not DAS. All right. So Sue is going to keep me reeled in. After about 4.5 hours, my brain starts to turn to mush no matter how many nootropics I take. In fact, once I start stacking the second layer of nootropics, I get a little bit more feisty than is probably appropriate.
That's okay, I got a whip.
Yeah, and if you guys think that I'm being inappropriate in any way, stuff it. Okay, so yeah. All right, you guys. So Sue, why don't you're the CEO, why am I trying to make up this frame?
I don't know.
I like to try to control the frame. You like to
I
let
know
me
you do.
think. Okay. Is Jimmy going to be on this webinar, or is he still down
No.
and out? Okay.
He's actually masterminding world domination for me.
He actually is doing, oh, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
So,
never mind. Just when you thought it couldn't get any better. Uh,
so
so what is this
and
strategy? This is Jimmy Kelley. This is a live event footage. Here's his screen. And there you go. I'm fast forwarding quick. Everybody take notes. There it is. That's exactly how to do a battery method. And then there's a blue screen of death, and Google is down.
That's how it goes.
Literally, Google went blue for 1 minute. Oh, just kidding.
Another one bites the dust.
Paul's like, rewind, rewind. He saw that shot right here. I don't think so. All right. Well, seriously, what?
I have some questions up. I thought maybe we'd just slide into a couple questions first.
Okay, so do you want to show your
Then
screen?
we can see what people want to do.
Because my screen is up, right?
Yeah, I see your screen.
Okay, so.
Are you recording?
Yes.
All right.
I started before you arrived.
Good.
So yeah, why don't you just
whole screen sharing. There we go. You know, I'd change the presenter, but everybody's me.
I should have changed my name to somebody other than Sue.
I'm having an identity crisis.
Usually it's me, so that's good. I'm glad that I don't feel. Okay, let me go ahead and edit my name. And that us. There you
You
go.
guys can see the Google Doc now, right? Give me a one if you can see the Google Doc. All right, good. Obakeba. Let me see how I can there we go. Okay, so.
So we're just gonna let you roll with that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're just going to see what we can answer here. Michael says, I'm still confused about identities in a DAS stack. Can I use one identity for an entire stack? And if I need a second, will one additional identity work for the property? So here's the thing. So like, let's say that in a DAS stack, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different properties, right? Just like to pull a number kind of sort of out of the air. And so what you're really saying is, can you use the same persona on all 10 properties, right? Because there's no more than one page per property for a DAS stack, typically speaking. I mean, you can have multiple pages, and some of the ones over maybe Weebly or something, you might have a couple of pages, but typically you've got one page in each property that's linked to your money site or whatever it is that you're trying to enhance. So you're going to have 10 different logins, and so what you're really asking is, can you use the same persona? And I would just have to say, like, why? Like, if there's a method to your madness, like if you're doing our ring system, then we have a method to our madness, and there's a reason why we have personas that have multiple social accounts. But when you're doing a DAS stack, you don't need that kind of continuity. So I wouldn't bother. Does that make sense? Is Michael here? Just look on the list here for a second, see if we have a Michael in the audience. Chaz, you crack me up. I don't know. I don't have a last name, so I don't know if the Michael that's here is the Michael that's there. And if that answers your question, or if you want to refine it, if you want to say a little something else, then go ahead and type it in the chat box. All right, so Greg asks, as you're prospecting for money-making opportunities, ooh, I got my little, like, my sifter out, I'm panning for gold. Do you always start off with TLKT to see if a niche is even worth investing in your time? Do you often start with topics that you've got a strong interest in or affinity to? So, you know, how important is it? Okay, so if you're new, like if you haven't actually made money online before, I think it's really important to go with something that you have an interest in, because the first time that you go to make money online, there's a whole bunch of gray areas that you don't know the answers to because you haven't done it before, right? And every time you approach a gray area, there's a human tendency to not want to do what it is that you don't know, right? So you kind of avoid it. You step around it. You go do something else. You'd rather pay your bills than do something that you don't know. So if you have a strong interest or an affinity with the topic, then that's going to motivate you and help you push through those gray areas. And like some of it, honestly, is just a little bit boring, and that'll help push you through that stuff too. So the very first time when you haven't been through it, then I would say yes, you want something that you're interested in. After that, you can decide. You've been through it once, you'll know whether or not, you'll be able to gauge better. Like, I definitely wouldn't do it in something that I have no interest in, because that just gets mundane. Like, you just want to jump off of a tall building. And do I start off with TLKT to figure out whether or not, the best tool to use is Network Empire Builder. And yeah, I would probably grab either TLKT or Kraken and throw the keywords into Network Empire Builder and set my business rules up, because then that's going to tell me whether or not there's enough money in the market for whatever it is that I'm selling to make it worth my while, right? So can I show that? Would that be okay to show that really fast, Russ? Oh, good. He's not answering, so then that means yes. Let me go into this hair salon here.
Wait a second. Was I muted? I was like, no. Just kidding. You can show whatever you want at this point, because I won't even remember tomorrow.
All right, good.
I'll wake up and it'll be like, what do we do? Okay.
You'll have to watch the replays to keep up.
I know. I have to watch my own replays to remember what I said at this point.
So let me just point out a couple of things here. We've got like costs and stuff like that, but the part that's really cool is we give conversions, blah, 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 conversions. What's your average profit? Okay, so this is actually profit. This isn't like I'm selling something for $99.97. This is like I'm selling something for $200 and I get to keep $100 of it. Okay, so this is your actual profit. And then this is how much you want to make off of your website in a month. So in other words, when you sit there and you think about it, like there's all of these hours that I have to put into creating the website, to creating the product, to creating the inbound links, to, it's time, and it's my time. And I'm looking at it as though it's an investment, right? So I'm going to want an ROI for this investment. So let's say that this is going to take me, if I'm doing it part-time, it might take me 90 days. It might take me 120 days. It depends on how my evenings go and how much my spouse wants my time and blah, 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 children, blah, blah, blah. So let's say that this is going to like cut into your family time for a good 4 months, right? So what is that worth to you? So you're going to want to stick your financial goal in there, and then your budget. So in other words, how much money are you willing to invest? But this isn't just money. For you guys that are starting out, this is also your time. You're going to want to pay yourself something. So there's an idea of, let's say that I'm paying myself $100 an hour, and that's going to be my initial investment, and it's going to take me X number of hours, and so I'm going to want to pay myself $100 for each one of those hours that I'm going to put into it. And then above and beyond that, I want this money to come back to me, right? I want $5,000 a month. Once I'm ranking, I want that to come back on top of what I'm paying myself. So that's how I come up with a number in here for what my budget is if I'm doing it all myself. Does that make sense? So Patrick's saying he has TLKT, so basic would be a good place to start. Basic what? On a budget for now. Yeah. So yeah, you want to start with oh, yeah. Okay. You were answering that. I got in the middle of the conversation.
He's just asking the common question, any builder, since you've been demonstrating that quite a bit today in the last webinar. People are starting to get the hang of it, that it's, and I explained to him that it's pretty much in every bundle that we have.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, including the networkempire.basic.com
Yeah.
$49 a month bundle.
I,
Again, Patrick, just remember you get one website inside the builder for that. So if you want to do more, you have to delete it and do another one.
I would probably take the 97 because that's going to give you TLKT too.
Yeah, so just look at the grid, and again, I'll drop that in for everybody. The bundle grid makes it really clear, and we've done a check-by-check comparison grid for that. Thanks.
Yep. Cool. So that's when you fill all that out, then this gives you an idea of what keywords are reasonable, right? So I can come over here to the keyword decision screen, and it's going to tell me these keywords meet all of my goals. In other words, once I rank for them, there's enough searches, I'm going to make enough conversions, right? There's this number of searches, and that's going to translate into this number of conversions based on conversion percentages that I put in. And I'm going to need so many backlinks, and there's a place where you put in how much a backlink costs you. And there's going to be this many supporting articles on your website, and we have a calculation. You can put in your content costs there. And so then all up, this keyword to rank is going to cost $10,000, but I'm going to make $6,500 worth of sales per month. So what does this amount to? In 2 months, obviously, I'm not going to make it back once I rank because my initial investment is 10 and I'm only getting 6. But after 12 months, I'll be making money. So that's good. So these keywords all are going to make back, they meet my financial requirements. I don't have to sit here and beat my head against a wall and try and figure out whether or not there's enough keywords in this thing to make me money. So I can look through these keywords and I can say, okay, these are all keywords that are about what it is that I want to sell. I mean, obviously you've got to have keywords that are going to convert for your product. And so if the keywords are in the right area and you got enough green flags, then yeah, this is something I can make money with. And if they're all red flags, and I've seen that happen, right? I've seen, we went through an exercise with one certified advisor a couple of years ago, and he wanted to sell some kind of earrings, right? Some kind of jewelry. And there was so much competition for the jewelry, and he was only making X amount of profit because he was doing lead gen. And when he looked at it, he was like, well, wow, like the amount of time and effort I have to put into it, I'm not going to get the money out of it that I want to. There are better and easier ways to make money. So he left that aside and went to a completely different market.
Remember that.
Yeah. So that is my answer to this question. Do I always start off with TLKT? I'm going to start with a combination, a 1-2 punch of TLKT and Network Empire Builder to see if the niche is worth investing in my time. And then yeah, it should be something that I like. Definitely not something that I hate. So Mark says, should I use a VPN? Are there any questions there that I should answer on the back side of that?
What are you saying there, Sue?
I was just asking if there were any questions, follow-up questions before I move on to the next question that I should tackle. I don't see any.
No, I think we're good.
All right, good. Jazz is really giving you rash this shit.
Yeah, she is. I have my finger hovering over the eject button. Just kidding. Sort of.
Mark says, should I use a VPN when posting to Web 2.0? No, I don't think there's any requirement. I'm assuming that you're trying to like hide your identity and that kind of thing. And we've talked about that ad nauseum. I think you'll be okay. Is reblogging from scraped/expired high PA Tumblr sites a good move? I know Jimmy's talked about that in the past. I don't think there's any problem with that. Should I use a VPN for reblogging Tumblrs as well? So, like, let's just look at that idea for a second. So, VPN, a virtual private network, you're hiding your IP. I mean, I wouldn't use. I think you don't actually mean a VPN. I think you're meaning like a like hide my IP or something like that. Some kind of a, is Mark here in the audience? Yes, all right. So I think you're actually talking about like hide my IP, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's look at Tumblr for a second. You're going to log into Tumblr and you're going to post something. And there are certain places, particularly forums, where your IP address is exposed to other members. But on things like Tumblr, I don't believe your IP address is exposed. So I don't think it's going to be a big deal. If your IP address isn't exposed, there's no way for anybody to know. And I can pretty much say at this point that Google's not going to be looking at that. Your competitors are going to be the things that would really try to track you down and turn you in. So long as your competitors can't tell that it's you, you're going to be fine. I don't know that I would say that a year from now, but I feel safe in saying that right at the moment. All right, so Carl says, I'm going to pretend to be Jimmy for a minute, all right? Last week you said that it's important to use keyword anchor texts that have search volume. Does that also count for long tails like, if you want to have more information, then you, yes, absolutely, it counts for long tails like that. You can get away with one long tail like that, but don't use exactly the same long tail more than one place. And here's the thing, right? Like, there's a threshold there. They're looking at the amount of searches. Most of the time, I know that there is the occasional person that's going to highlight an entire sentence and anchor text it, but those are some serious newbie type moves. Most people highlight a particular keyword or a phrase, usually not longer than 3 or 4 words, and that's with the anchor text, right? And so what Google's looking for are people trying to spam. So if you've got like cosmetic dentistry Austin, right? So you've got a certain amount of population that looks for cosmetic dentist, but how many people actually type in cosmetic dentistry, right? That's going to be fewer. And by the time you stick on Austin, it's not going to be too terribly many searches per month. And so if you're trying to rank for that keyword and you overuse that anchor text, they're going to say, hey, people don't use that word. Like, why are you highlighting that word? This must be spam. So you've got some allowance there, right? Google can't clamp too hard on that because people do strange things. But if you are actually going out and intentionally building links to your money site, you want to minimize the flags that you're raising. So if you're building a link, don't hyperlink something as hugely long as that. Keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it something that's got searches so that you don't raise a flag. All right, so Bob asks, I'm a bit confused about all the NE products and training courses. My marketer's been telling me that too. As the information is spread out over several websites, is there one up-to-date place that covers everything? Also, I'm interested in level 1 certification, but I'm not clear about whether it's entirely a live training course. If so, when is the next start date? Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So, were you going to actually answer that? Were you going to try to answer that?
I thought we'd give them a couple of ideas.
Okay.
Do you want to try?
Well, I'm not going to try. I mean, I'll answer it.
Go for it.
Let's see. Okay, so here's the thing that we discovered today in the previous webinar, is we want to be really clear that you guys understand the difference between advanced. I would actually have to show the screen, Sue, and you can do it if you want to follow along with me instead. That's fine, you know where everything is. If you could just log into the members area. There's a clear distinction that we have between our standalone perpetual mastermind groups. These are advanced trainings like our automatic video traffic training, our semantic web training. You pay once for these trainings and then you're part of a really private and intimate group, a mastermind club forever on these advanced courses, and the price can be subtracted from any live event that you have one time up and coming. And these are not part of the Network Empire bundles. The price is above them. And those are the ones down at the bottom that Sue's showing you here on the far left. CL1, 2, 3, and any of the AT1 courses. Courses that you're all familiar with. Again, you're inside the members area here that's open to the public. In fact, let's just drop that link in there for everybody so they can follow along. So they understand the amazing system that helps them find exactly what it is that they're looking for. It really is quite nice now that Sue and I have cleaned up that area. So you just go to members. I'm going to go ahead and drop that in there for you. She's just up at members area. Oh, did you? Okay, great. Thank you. And you can see we always have a calendar right below Guy's testimonial there. And if you look on the left, anything on the left, like our automatic video traffic, domain authority, semantic, traffic hospital, very popular courses, those are all standalone. And when they have CL next to them, Sue has labeled as certification level. Okay, and certification level, that's the big gun. It's a one-time payment structure, and then we repeat those ongoing through the years, and you will never pay again for them. And any enhancements, theme updates, things that require a theme, or for instance, in CL3, you can see there, automatic video pin vid blog training, probably the most advanced course I've ever seen on automatic traffic and video generation. That you pay once and you're always a member, and you always get updates to the semantic web theme and all these things, okay? So you'll never pay again, and you can subtract the cost of those courses from the live certification event the first time you come and hang with us. Now, that is not a bundle. So if you go up to the top of the page, Sue will take you up there. Our bundles, our software bundles are very specific. And the software bundles include the various packages that sometimes we're walking individuals through which one they need, and we're actually working on a system to help you more easily understand what you need based on your life situation. But the software bundles are laid out here. We have basic through enterprise, okay? Now those standalone courses are independent of these, okay? Because these are recurring monthly memberships. Yeah, those standalone courses are independent of the bundles, okay? The bundles are really Sue's layout for the software requirements for various type of people, basic, pro, agency, and enterprise. For instance, if you're wanting to take Mike Clay's very intimate sell blueprints first, showing you how he makes $3,000 to $10,000 up front per blueprint in DWS, AnyBuilder, and Kraken, you would need a pro bundle or greater, okay? And you can see on the check marks here, we probably should drop the software bundles in there, Sue. This whole link probably should just drop them. And if you have any question whatsoever, you're not clear, there's a lot of things included in that. For instance, you get your deep silo plugin. You can see that the pro bundle even includes the video silo builder. So you have all these functionalities that depending upon what it is that you want to do. And if you have any question on that, we're really developing very clear definitions so that I can walk you through to make sure that you get the right thing that you need. And of course, I know that you're all watching your finances as well. And for instance, there are options. If you really, really want to use Kraken, you don't necessarily have to go to agency. You could use our Kraken standalone product screen, which is Network Empire. You could test it for a week, and we don't have to charge you monthly. Okay, so we usually have an independent package for everything should you just want to try something, okay? This is our Kraken standalone. So really what we're working on is making sure that each and every one of you understand the power so that you're not buying something that you don't need and that you understand what you get with the bundle. And if you want, you can consider the CL training courses, Traffic Hospital, these advanced training courses for going to the next level. They really are advanced trainings. They're 8-week boot camps. When you're done, you're an expert. For instance, Traffic Hospital, people who have graduated from Traffic Hospital courses can make anywhere between $2,000 and $10,000 up front doing site recovery and SEO prevention. It is by far the most advanced training that I've seen in the world on SEO recovery and prevention. So that should help you a little bit understand the difference. Anything at the bottom of the members area in the CLC through A1s, they are pay one time, and you're part of an incredibly powerful mastermind group with our team forever. And then the bundles are going to be based on which software you need, and if you're a part of the blueprints first, and if you want TLKT and Kraken and these types of things. And again, feel free to contact me on Skype Does everybody know my Skype address by now? I'm sure you do. It's ThemeZoom, ThemeZoom. And if you have any questions, you can contact me or our help desk, and I will walk you through that, because you all are helping me create a very clear distinction and ultimately a walkthrough system that will allow you to know exactly what you want to buy. I hope that helps a little bit. Do you have any more questions on that? What was his name again, Sue? Yes, Jazz, the AT packages. Jazz asked a great question right there on those AT packages. Let's go back there.
Yeah.
She's probably just helping me sell stuff. That's awesome. Thanks, Jazz. Unless she actually didn't know that, which is bad because she's been around for a long time. The AT packages, Jazz, semantic, traffic, and GSA, which I think will probably discontinue. If you guys want GSA, you better get it now. I think we're going to remove it. It's still useful, but I don't know. Local Leads Empire course. GSA is just kind of dangerous in power. So Local Leads Empire course. These are all one-time payments, and you will always have updates. Okay. So that's what I wanted to make sure. And that bundle is not included. Now, you can purchase all these together, of course, but contact us privately. If you're an agency and you think in a really big picture and you're looking at coming to our live event, just contact us. We'll walk you through all of that. So really what happens, for those of you who are agencies, I know we have 3 in the room, those packages, if you purchase all of them, that's about, how much money is it off, Sue, to the live event? It's like...
it's $13,000.
Yeah, you immediately subtract $13,000 from the live event. And our live event is not cheap. It's also one of the most impactful events that some students have said they've ever been to. But again, we try to make it work for you. We really want you to, be able to make the training work for you. So hopefully that clears things up for you guys.
So just one other thing I'll say is up here on Member Software, this page is also open to everybody. If you want the packages individually, if you're looking for any piece of software individually, you can find the sales link over here. And then these are the wiki links to the help files. So I'll just drop that in there too, because I think it's a useful page. All right. So back at...
And I wanted to go back to that screen you were just on, Sue. I want people to take a note. Did you drop that in the chat area?
I did just now, yeah.
I wanted you guys to be aware that Sue and team have completely updated the member software and plugin area. This is almost the best place to go. This is like ground zero for all of our technology. And what we're doing is just trying to create a very simple app-like environment so that you can see all the things that are together and what bundle they're actually a part of. Okay, and it's actually super clear, because then you just start asking yourself, what am I doing? And if you have any question about, I really like the way she's laid it out, because if you are an agency or these types of things, you have any questions, it's really easy for us to just lead you here and say, hey, here's the software bundle that's ideal for you, probably what you'll need. So I really appreciate what you've done on this, Sue. It's looking really, really super good.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay.
All right. So the next question is Steve's. With the number of pages I'm creating on a few mini sites, I'm struggling to keep up with my Web 2.0 for DAS. How can I automate the creation of Web 2.0s for the DAS stack? Can I use SES Networker? And if so, how would I set it up to do it? Automating DAS that was probably the first request that came out of Jimmy's mouth, and I think he asks me that. Well, he's down to about once a month now. He was at once a week for a little while. And here's the thing, because a lot of those sites get manually reviewed, you want to spend some time crafting them. And not only do you want to spend some time crafting them, but it's a 1-2 punch, right, where you go and you put the content in, and you leave the content up there for a little while until you feel like the manual reviewers come by and take a look at it, and then you go back and you add the links. And between the number of sites and the fact that the sites change all the time and yada, 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 it's a really tough thing to automate well. FCS Networker is a great product, but it doesn't replace a DAS stack. It's just not going to do that. All right. So Terry says, hello, I have a website with an inner page Oh, the other thing that I would say is you don't have to have a link to every single page on your website. Depending on what it is that you're trying to rank for, particularly like if you're trying to rank for local, which I think a lot of folks here are working on, you don't need more than typically one, maybe two good DAS stacks to actually rank for local. And so, like, I wouldn't look at it as though I have to have a link to every single page. I would look at it as, you know, I build out a DAS stack, and a DAS stack can take a couple of months to build out just because of how they're built. And so, you know, you put a link, you wait a couple of weeks, you put another link, and you watch the results, right? And as soon as you rank for the terms that you want to rank for, stop, because more links are not better.
What?
Less is more. More is not
Less but
more.
better.
Right. All right, so back to Terry's question. He's got a website where an inner page is ranking, but I would prefer if I could switch the page that is ranking for the home page instead. Is there any way to do that easily? I've been sending links to the home page in order to try to have Google switch that page that is ranking for the home page. But I wonder if that's the correct way. No, more links is not better. If possible, I would like to avoid deleting the page that is ranking. Yeah, I wouldn't do that either, because it's still a page where I would want my users to visit, just not necessarily the first page that they come into contact with. Right, that makes total sense. I actually have that problem quite frequently with my silo structures where the lower pages are going to outrank the higher pages. So here's what tends to happen is my gut hunch at this point is that your homepage isn't going to rank so easily because maybe you've got too many inbound links. You've kind of over-optimized it. You've lowered the trust on that page a little bit too much. And there was a really cool trick, and I'm racking my brains to remember what the heck it was that Jimmy told me how you can switch that power around. Dang, gone from my head. Let me just annotate this, and next week I'll have Jimmy answer it.
5 hours.
Yeah, it's been just a little bit of a long day. I'm like,
Holy smokes.
yeah.
It's all your fault, by the way. You planned both these webinars on the same day.
Hey, it's not my fault. You decided to turn the first one into a what do you call them?
A nootropic stack.
A webinar marathon? There's a way you can
webathon.
combine those two words.
A webathon.
Webathon. You turned it into a webathon.
What? People wanted to know.
Oh, Octavio. Oh, a website about chocolates. Oh, that's awesome. Chocolate from every state. Is it okay to have under the silo landing page dark chocolate? Several state names in their H1, like Florida dark chocolate, Arizona dark chocolate, New Mexico dark chocolate. Or could this be seen as over-optimization? Oh, so like, let me just, actually, let me do a notepad file. Hang on, 2 shakes of them still. So if you've got this kind of a thing going on, I'm going to have to change the font size, no doubt. Well, that's not bad. All right, so if you got this thing going on, where you've got your www.mysite.com/dark chocolate/dark chocolate-Arizona, then yeah, this is over-optimized because it's got dark chocolate in there twice. You can cut out this dark chocolate and just say Arizona. And you're going to know it's about dark chocolate because the content on this page is going to be about Arizona dark chocolate, and it's in the dark chocolate silo, right? So you've already got dark chocolate in the URL. You don't need to repeat it twice, and it'll be obvious. However, if you have spicy dark chocolate, no, anyway, sorry.
Now, tell me what's on your mind, Sue. Don't hold back.
What? That's got to be my favorite dark chocolate. The ones
You like those pepper things? The pepper in the chocolate?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Just a little bit of bite. You get the bite and you get the sweet. It's kind of like pain and pleasure.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I actually like the sea salt mixture
Oh,
with caramel, caramel doesn't like me though.
oh, caramel. Oh, dark chocolate salted caramels.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, be
I have
still my beating
actually
heart.
I have actually seen Sue give hundreds of dollars of product away when someone sent her chocolate. So here's her address. Just kidding.
Mr. Evil himself. Oh my gosh.
That's actually literally true. Remember that time? That guy? Never mind. That was a lot of chocolate though.
That was Welton.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that. Weldon's got this child. Is he here? Weldon, you
I
gotta
don't think
stop sending that chocolate from the islands, man.
so.
Damn.
That's some good chocolate. All
Yeah.
right, wanted to drop a testimonial for the 5 iframe punch. Oh, nice. Thank you, Ryan. Clear the topics should be well themed. If you have 5 to 15 topics, does it matter if they are all unrelated? Like 15 different clients in 15 different niches on only one account. It's not going to work as well. So if, Ryan, are you on the call? Let me just check and see. Hang on. 'Cause I can tell that Russell's over there
I'm
talking to.
answering hundreds of incoming questions.
I figured as much, particularly to Jazz. I know how that goes. All right,
Don't
so
talk to Jazz
Ryan
at
is
all online.
on the
Just distract
call.
me.
Hi. Hi, Ryan. So, if you have 5 to 15 topics, does it matter if they're all unrelated, like 15 different clients in 15 different niches on only one account? And so you're talking like only one YouTube account or um, only one social media account, right? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. And here's the reason why. Um, when you look at a YouTube account, for example, you've got the channel page. And on that channel page, you can see all the videos. And pretty much every social media account is like this to one degree or another. And when that page has a single topic, a single theme, it can be broad. Like it can be all things online marketing, and it'll still work. You're going to get more oomph out of that than you will if those videos are a little bit of everything, right? If they're like all over the planet. So the reason being is that it's like a website. It's like having a single theme on a website. Now, back in the day, you could silo out YouTube a little bit, but you can't so much anymore. It's basically all one. I'm just thinking there's a couple of things running through my head all at one time, and they're colliding hopelessly. No, it's not nearly as effective now as it used to be. There were ways before where you could have some separate pages for some things, and you still have a few social media accounts. Pinterest is one of those. Pinterest is a great example. You can have different boards in Pinterest, and Storify is another one. You can have different boards in Storify. And so those are places where you can have one account with multiple themes. But most things you can't segregate out like that and still have like its own little independent silo. Most accounts, it's like everything is connected to everything. So you need to make it basically one theme. Does that make sense? So let me read what he says. So it seems like you would need maybe 15 different accounts, upgrade to the 5-topic package. Yeah, okay. Yep, exactly. Good. All right. I'm sorry it blows up your plan, Ryan. Suburban says, hello, everybody. I plugged in approximately 20 DAS property pages into Social Explosion with a high setting. This will run for 14 days. Sorry if this is a stupid question, but can I enter the same URLs again into Social Explosion for another 14-day syndication? Yes, you can, but you have to jump through a little bit of a hoop. That was one of the reasons that I wrote one feed supercharger the way that I did, let me just think about where I have my poor blog. Like, you just got to understand, my blog has been through so many incarnations. Just today, I actually had this fantasy over the weekend that I was going to personally blog on this blog, but I realized that that's just
Woohoo! Go, Sue.
right?
Yeah, blogging. You're a mommy blogger now.
Don't get me started.
That's where the money is.
No, well, I just,
The
I
question
want
of
to
the
express
month is,
myself.
do mommy bloggers actually make money? Give me a 1 if you think they do, and a 2
It's
if you
not
think
about
it
money.
depends. Oh, clearly.
It's not.
Are you? Give
I
me
don't know.
a give me a
Why do I not have one feed supercharger on this blog?
give me a
Like,
3 if you're a mommy blogger
RS.
and you make money. Mommy bloggers actually can make money. I've got several in the community that do really, really well. But they have the 1 feed RSS set up and they rank really, really well for their terms.
Right?
I didn't get a single 3. You guys are just like crickets.
Final.
Jazz, aren't you a mommy blogger? Jazz is a mommy blogger.
Oh, this is sad.
Don't lie. Granny blogger. Crotchety.
Right?
Sweet.
Yay, 1 feed supercharger zip even. That's what I'm looking for. That's not right. Go away. Finals. Gosh. This is so, I don't know what I'm doing here still with only 2 monitors, but it really cramps my style on Webbies. All right.
What 2 monitors do?
Yeah, because one monitor's taken up with go-to, and then, you try to put something over there on that monitor, you can't see anything. And then the other monitor is the one that everybody sees. So there's just nothing but transparency available. 1 feed supercharger. All right, so all right, no feeds. So if I add a feed, when I put a title in here, like my new feed, stuff about my feed, and then we'll just say, posts, blah, 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 post to include, we'll make this 10, and publish. So now I'm going to view my feed. And I actually want to view the source to this feed. All right, so what happens here, you'll see this has got a UTM, right? So it's got several UTMs. My new feed, UTM feed, campaign source 1 feed supercharger. So it's not just about this anymore. So what happens with 1 feed super, or what happens with Social Explosion, is it will not re-promote the same URL twice. It looks at that and it goes, hey, you already promoted this. I'm sure it was a mistake that you wanted me to promote it again, so I won't let you. Mind you, we have a dashboard coming that will change all that, but that's probably a couple weeks out. So in the meantime, to solve this problem right away, you take your content and you pipe it through here, and it's going to append UTMs to it, right? And as soon as it appends this UTM to it, it's a different URL. And Social Explosion looks at it and goes, oh, I never published that. Yeah, sure, I'll publish it. So does that make sense? Whose question was this? Berman. Berman, are you on the call? Does that make sense? Kinda. Oh, so the UTM is automatic. It's part of 1 feed supercharger. So when I was here, I made my feed. You can take external feeds and run them through here. So let me just look at your question again. You were wanting, you've got DAS properties. Obviously, you took your DAS properties and you turned them into a feed somehow in the first place, right? So you just take that feed and you push it here into this external feed thing. You can leave this at 0. You don't need to actually publish this at all, but you take your external feed, which let's say that this is www.themesnews.com/feed, whatever the URL of your feed is, and the post that you want to include. If you say 100, it obviously is going to pick up all 20 or 30 feeds or whatever you had. Jazz, don't give me shit. You're supposed to be giving Russell shit. And then you hit the update button.
You realize that you said shit 3 times on this webinar, right? Oops.
Yeah.
I think this is the longest webinar day. I have an idea, Sue. Let's just take one day per month and just do it. We get up at 7:30, we turn on GoToWebinar, and we just leave it on. And then the whole staff just takes turns.
Well, if the staff takes turns, that's fine. If you want me to be on all day.
Yeah, okay. No, you don't have to be. You just come on certain hours. In fact, we'll publish the hours that you're expected. And then we'll just play like videos in between, like forbidden videos from like bootlegged certification events and stuff. Jazz is like, no way, I ain't got time for that.
I don't think I hit the update. I didn't hit the update. That's just so sad. So if I turn this back to 0, ThemeZoom News? Is that what's ThemeZoom? Oh, Network Empire News. That's why it's not. It has been a long day.
It's been a long day. I forgot I even had that website. I should probably update it.
I don't think you do have that website.
Oh, okay, good.
All right, and come back here, and now if I look at that, hopefully. Oh, come on. Anyway, you get the idea. I'm clearly just like too tired to be able to hit the save button. You're going to get all of the items out of that feed that you just piped through there. And, you know, that's because this version is buggy. That's what I get for taking it off my hard drive. Take the one out of the download area, not the ones off my hard drive, guys, and it'll work just fine. So you put your external feed in there. You've got everything in, yeah, too much caffeine, exactly. You've got, let me look for bourbon. I use page column and one feed supercharger. Then you entered the feed into Social Explosion. So you just want to make another feed in one feed supercharger with a different name up here, and you'll have a different URL string, and then it'll work. You can put it back through and get another round out of Social Explosion. Excellent. When DASing, will the top silo page rank for the LSI keyword you targeted for pages lower in the silo? It can. It depends. Typically what happens is if your top silo page is outranking your lower pages, somewhere I have an image, just a second. Deep silo builder, there we go. Let's do this. All right, so if you have this page, let's say this page, that's ranking for keywords that you're targeting down here, it's because you don't have enough power to these pages down here. You've got plenty of power to this page, and these pages are just kind of left out in the cold a little bit. So you probably just want another, and the interesting thing is you could, You could target this page, and the link juice will flow down to this, or you can target the one page that you're looking for if it's just one page that's not ranking. Oh, Alex says you started to see some killer rankings with no PBNs and all DAS. Yes, absolutely. You don't actually.
Who said that?
You
I
can
can't
do.
see him.
It's Alex, just right at the bottom. You can do everything you need to with DAS, actually.
Oh, yeah.
Don't get
Alex,
Jimmy started.
contact me
Fortunately.
privately, Alex, so I can exploit your testimonial. Just messing with you, bro. I'll give you a free gift. I just want to hear more what you have to say. Alex, he's like, okay. I'm just messing with him. The main thing, Alex, is that some people are not as forthcoming with their success, and I won't use your name if you don't want. I just want to find out exactly your process, where you went through to get it. Okay, that'd be great. Thank you. Oh, here we go. Now all the DAS testimonials coming in. Well, sheesh, you guys. Dang it.
All you had to do was offer him something.
Fine, making a new video testimonial link for that. No, I'm sure that they want to be private. But I understand when you guys understand this. I can't get anybody to talk about this stuff. All right, go ahead.
Do we have... I don't think we do. All right. This is the only place that I know of right off the top of my head. When you click on that image, it brings up the spreadsheet, and you can see the prices for all the courses. And over here, you've got the links to the sales page for all the courses. So one-stop shopping for all the courses is here. swallowyourmarkethole.com.
Look at all these DAS testimonials coming in. Where did this come from? Holy smokes. Well, great, guys. Clearly you followed instructions. Oh, boy. Thanks, guys.
Dang,
Really appreciate it.
2 weeks. Nice bourbon.
Thank you so much. That's just amazing. That's faster than me. Dude, you're hired. Okay. Go ahead, Sue.
All right, excellent. Okay, so I think that was the last question on the list. And we're only an hour into the webinar, which is short. So you have the rare opportunity to ask me any question you want. I will even answer the ones about my whips. So RSS links, can one on OTT, you probably mean if this then that, with links.
IFTFRSBXYZRTB. If this, then walk over to DAS with RSS one feed system with. Greg is like, oh no, he used acronyms, so I thought he was making a joke. He's serious. Do you develop on local server environments like XAMPP or WAMP? Greg, that's a really unexpected question from this group. I am thrilled. Sue, I will let you answer that.
I don't actually do the development, my programmers do.
Yeah, she's out of that. She just cracks the whips.
Yep.
I don't think we're on WAMP, though.
No.
I read that on a wiki page once, so I could pretend I know what it is. Greg, are you a programmer? Okay. All right, you're a smarty pants.
How big are the spikes on the whip when you need to...
Sue goes from highly intelligent frontal lobes to right back to the reptilian brain in 2.9 seconds redlining. I love it, because that's how whole brain we are. All right. I love it. We just ping back and forth from the frontal lobes to the reptilian like
boing, boing.
Nanosecond. They call that whole brain therapy. Ryan's talking about video cracking. Now, that's a topic I'm interested in. Can I hijack this conversation?
Sure.
Okay. No, I'm kidding, honey. You go ahead. I'm delirious at this point after 5 hours. It's delirious. Ryan, what do you mean it
Jimmy
won't
likes a
work?
lot of pain. That's all I'll
Ryan,
say.
there's only two reasons. There's three. No, I'm not gonna say only. There's only three reasons why Video Kraken wouldn't be working. One, you have a crappy hosting company. By the way, that takes care of most of it, and you didn't use the hosting companies that we recommended. The other one is that you're on something like a service that's using not traditional hosting environment, but you're on
Mm.
SiteGround.
No, I think that the problem is you probably got the bad version of vCrack and
Ryan,
put in a
contact me on
request to
Skype
that.
right now. Contact me on
Yeah,
Skype. I'll
or,
give you the update.
yeah, good, good.
Sorry about that, buddy. And check in with me. Well, if she gave you the recent one, Ryan is saying you gave me the latest one, just so you guys can hear the conversation. Then I would actually take a look at SiteGround. I use SiteGround for something very specific, but I don't host WordPress on them for a real reason. They're generally a good hosting company. So why don't you, if Sue gave you the update, that should work. Did you check your cron and clear the cron and actually do a manual cron test with them? Yeah, I like SiteGround as well, Ryan. I'm not complaining.
There's a plugin you use for that, right?
Yeah. Ryan, are you a pro member for Network Empire? Because our help desks now, like we will log in and look at your site if you're is it basic or pro, Sue?
Pro.
Yeah, if you're a pro member, we actually will log in and look at your stuff. But if you're not, then we won't. It's just taking our help desk too much time. So why don't you just contact me on Skype anyways, because SiteGround is important for me. I think it's a good company. And we'll just give it a kick. Yeah, contact me separately, man. That's all right. You're awesome because you've been around for a long time. Yeah, no, I know who you are. It's cool. All right.
So David asks if Jimmy's course is on the drawing board yet. It's on the drawing board, but we don't have launch day yet.
Yeah, everybody's talking about the course that Jimmy kind of dropped the ball on because he was all excited about, which is this money-making course.
Drop the bomb.
The bomb on.
Not the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, did I say ball?
I don't know. I was just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. No, I was not saying that Jimmy dropped the ball, not at all. I'm saying that when we talked about it, a lot of the times we say things out loud that we don't say, we're not sure or clear on yet. We don't know when that course is going to come about. And really what it is just 4 or 5 pages. And Sue has decided that we should hold back on that for a moment. And it will probably happen after Jimmy's live event, mostly because there's been an illness in the family here, and we need to let him catch up. So, but that course we are planning a release on that, but it just really should not sidetrack anything here that we're doing because we can't promise you a deadline. It's going to be after September. Okay. Thank you. But I promise we will deliver it at some point.
Ryan asks what's the best site to create RSS feeds. He's had issues with RSS links expiring after a couple weeks.
From which companies? I mean, what kind of RSS feeds?
So like where you put in a bunch of links and it creates a feed for you.
But like it depends on the service, Ryan. Some of them expire. I think you're probably talking about the one. Are you talking about the one that Greg Morrison used, page 1 or page 2? That one expires like clockwork. And that is not really something that he took into account or we took into account when we recommended it. So what you want to do is, I strongly recommend that you use OneFeed Supercharger to make your RSS feeds because ours do not expire. As far as I know, Sue has not put an expiration date.
You can't drop individual URLs in there. We have a program on the drawing board that'll fix all of that. We're going to take OneFeed Supercharger and throw at least aspects of it into a SaaS, but I don't have any kind of release date on it yet.
Are you talking about the dashboard? Oh, I didn't know.
Not Social Explosion, but OneFeed Supercharger.
I didn't realize that he was wanting one link at a time.
Yeah, I suspect, they're coming in from like these Tumblr things and some of the other stuff that Jimmy's talked about. And just if you're doing a DAS stack, then you got a bunch of single URLs typically. And you want to be able to grab all those and throw them into feeds.
Okay, I didn't understand that. I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay, Ryan, I gotcha. I'm not aware of this problem. Why is it so hard to find a one link? It's a one link RSS feed?
Because they're free, and because they're free, they don't last. I mean, it's the same thing that we talk about all the time.
But why can't they take an RSS feed? Say there's an expiring RSS feed, right? If it gets imported into OneFeed Supercharger, and then we use the function where it's frozen at the top, why can't they use that?
Because
Because if the feed goes away, we've captured the feed, the URL will remain the same, it gets transferred. But if the page goes away, that's a different story.
Right.
I know it's been a long day, but think about that for a second. Like if, let's say Tumblr gives you an RSS feed, or let's say Storify gives you an RSS output that goes away because it expires, right? If I drop that into one feed supercharger, which I could do, right, as long as it parses, I create an RSS feed with that. Why couldn't I sticky at top the post in question? It's not like one RSS feed, but if that one decays,
You
then I still
can,
have the link to the page.
so you can't sticky stuff off of the feed. You can only sticky stuff off the blog.
Oh, that
So
is right. You
yeah,
can't do it
so
with any RSS feed.
So you bring the feed in. So here's the thing that I'm looking at, though. If you bring the feed into One Feed Supercharge or into Social Explosion, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go through One Feed Supercharger. You
Okay.
bring that feed into Social Explosion. Social Explosion, within an hour, reads the entire feed, and it's going to grab all of those URLs, and it's going to have those URLs. Like, it doesn't matter whether or not the feed goes away in 2 weeks or 4 weeks or whatever. Now, if you want to take it and do one feed process on it where you take it and distribute it out to other places, then that's more problematic. And
Yeah,
let me
we
just
actually don't have a solution for that. That's interesting. It wasn't even on my radar, Ryan, so that's a good one. I'm writing this down on the whiteboard.
yeah, you should. That's a
I
really
actually don't know how I would do that. I would crack it, but I'd have to go searching. Okay, Ryan, you win the something prize. I think we should have like an innovation prize for all these. Like,
right.
yeah, Ryan, see me. I'm going to give you an innovation prize. Okay, that was a good one. You can join our
So
spec team.
Patrick wants to know if I have any tattoos.
No, but I do. Want to know where they are? Oh no, he wasn't asking me. Okay, let's see. What? Why you do sexy? Okay, let's see here. I'm writing Ryan's thing.
Is the early bird option available for the next certification event? Yes, Thomas, it is.
Yes, and please contact us and let me talk to you personally about that. I'm not going to try to walk through that stuff on this webinar.
Yeah, no.
Ryan, is
So
Ryan
it's
flirting with you?
today.
Ryan, are you flirting with Sue? What's your favorite band?
I told them they could ask me anything.
Okay, single link. I got this one. Ryan's got the developer prize today. Right.
Depeche Mode would be my favorite band.
Oh, she's always playing that. That's pretty good too. It's very nostalgic when we're driving in a Mercedes and we're listening to it. It's like, wow, it's 1983 again. Okay, I'm messing with you. Okay, single RSS. Got that.
I like all their S&M stuff.
What? You did not just say that. You did not. We're on a live webinar. Jazz is like, nothing wrong with 1983. This is what you call Sue Bell and Russell Wright uncensored, like to the max.
Right?
Don't judge us. Don't judge us.
Songs of Faith and Devotion, I believe, was the album.
Yes, faith and devotion. That's because you were driving through Europe and you're listening to it. It's the end of the whole story. When you were working for the Department of Defense.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm glad. I don't want to know. Okay. Ryan said, I am never attending again based on this response. All right, I believe you. All right, sorry, Ryan, if we scared you away. We lose one or two
Oh,
every
he's
time.
judging me. Oh, he's not flirting with me. He's judging me. I see how that goes.
Ryan, I would not at all be surprised if you were serious. And you know what? We lose a couple people every time. We expect that. It's a tree-shaking process, man. Okay. Oh, yeah. We do it on purpose. Okay, good. Sorry, Ryan. That's okay. There's other programs out there, man.
That's too funny.
All right. Looks like Alex and Ryan are friends, so I'm being told that I can relax. He's joking. All right, let's see.
How are you using RSS feeds into paper.li, and do you put the anchor link back to the money site, or just have the RSS feed? This is an Andy question. It just rolled off the top.
Oh, okay, got it. Got it.
I'll let you answer that because I don't actually do that process.
Oh, hang on. Let me go over to my other large screen TV monitor. I was totally distracted. Hang on. What did I miss?
Put the porn down, Russell.
I'm not watching porn. That is such a waste of time. But I like to talk about it. Okay, let's
right?
see here. What is, let me see. I'm sorry, can you, Sue, I'm really embarrassed here. Where did I go wrong? Don't even,
That's such an
I know what,
open-ended question.
I know what you're, stop it. She's like, let me count the ways. Where do I even start? Okay. All right. So, Sue, I've lost the attendee.
That I can't help you with, but I can ask you the question
Yeah,
again.
please ask it to me again. Because I can't see
How
the
are you
questions on the
using
screen.
RSS feeds into paper.li?
Oh, yes. Well, paper.li needs a little bit of work, and I've been at war with their developers for about a month now because there's some common sense things that they just need to add. But it's a really good idea. The RSS feeds really should be, where's my handy dandy diagram chart? That's all right. Well, y'all just acting up because I just mentioned flirting. Okay, so boy, I just watched the schoolboys just go nuts. They're just running around the yard here. Okay, so what I'm really saying is that you can take an RSS feed of what I like to use paper.li for is your RSS feed for your main site, like networkempirenews.com. For instance, it's not fully set up yet, but for client sites, you take the WR1 feed. Can you just go to u.everywhere, Sue, so we can have a simple, like,
Sure.
psychological framework? No, Jazz, you just crossed the line. Just letting you know. I'm,
Oh no, not this again.
I'm teasing you, girl.
No.
Okay, now everybody root for Sue's Flash executable, browser executable. No, don't worry, Sue. Jazz, since you never sent me any of that, I really don't know what you're talking about.
There you go.
Okay. If your WR1 and or your WR1B, which is your blog, which Sue sometimes recommends you use the simple silo plugin for because you can theme mirror with the deep silo plugin that you might have your money blog, and that was our last. The bottom line is that you can run your frequently published posts, your RSS feed to your primary branded money blog. So for instance, if you're a mommy blogger or just a blogger of any kind, and you've got a site on health and wellness, you can just take your healthandwellnesssite.com/feed, and then you can take it over to paper.li and start a paper with them for $9 a month if you want the SEO enhanced version. And you can just simply put that RSS feed in there, and every time that you update that blog, they will syndicate the article directly into their frame. Do you guys know what I mean when I say your frame? Okay, the frame is of course they have an 80, I think it's an 84 DA at this point. It goes up and down, and you just take it with a grain of salt. And what happens is they just create a newsletter, and what they've done is a little bit different. They are what you call an RSS aggregator, okay? RSS aggregator. An RSS aggregator is different than, give me a 1 if you're familiar with Scoop.it, scoop.it. That's a curation platform. People try to use it as an aggregator. Let's just put it this way. Sue, and almost for sure, and definitely myself, I always try to default. I would much rather have an RSS aggregator than ever a curator. Because curation is, oh, you having some problems with that, Ryan? Okay. Ryan, can you see me about that? Because I'm literally at war with the development department over there. They got a feed parsing problem, and you're just confirming that. I've got 2 out of 3 that I put in there not parsing properly, and I think we just need to go in there and crack open the code and see what's going on. So an RSS aggregator is any type of service that will take your RSS feed. Rebel Mouse is a perfect example of an aggregation service. Okay, Rebel Mouse is a perfect example of our aggregator service. Let me just show that to you guys. Sue, since you're muted, can I just change screen for a second?
Sure.
I mean, do you want me to go into this, or should we just move on?
No, there's nothing to move on to. Nobody else has put up a question, so.
Right. Okay, let me see here. Okay. Yes, make me presenter, and yes, show one of my many screens. 2, 3, boom. Okay. All right, so if you go to Rebel Mouse is an example of an aggregation service, okay? Aggregation service. So let me just log in. You can look at my Let me just see if I actually have something. What that means is they will parse your RSS feed automatically, and they will turn it into a platform, essentially. Okay, hang on a second here. And this is the way, when you have a choice between an aggregator versus a curator, you always want to take the aggregation service. Okay. Oh, lovely. Hang on a second. This is all part of the broadcasting mindset. Let me go ahead and, oh, geez. Hang on a second. I am trying to find my actual login. One moment. Let's put that over on something interesting where I'm figuring stuff out.
Did you need for me to do a song and dance?
No, that's no need anymore, really. We don't care.
Because, you know.
But however, if you're feeling frisky, it's entirely fine for you to do that, just because people would be entertained.
Indeed, they would.
And after today, I wouldn't even remember. So let me just see.
No, but they will. It'll be on video.
Yeah, our sales will skyrocket. It will. Right. They'll be like, where has all the money been in our busy years? Okay, so on our dry years. Okay, so Rebel Mouse is an example of a service that you can use that I think is one of the, when it comes to cost versus efficiency, it's one of the better services out there. Okay, so what they do is you can put an entire feed in and they will just start to parse everything, and they'll literally, and there's ways you can do, like this is really horrible, this thing that they have up here today has to do with a YouTube video that got parsed, and you can fix all that. I spent literally 4 seconds parsing this, and one thing I just want to point out to you guys is, can you see the domain authority up here? One of the things you always got to check is make sure it passes the Jimmy Kelley and Sue Bell standard of, you know, you can see the domain authority is here. All right. And then you just want to check for links, whether it's follow or no follow, and even no follow is still useful. So what it did is any service that I put in here, it automatically turns into a page. And what you're really looking for, which I believe is important, is whether it's got a subpage to it, because then you're kind of pseudo-siling. Oh, here's Andrew Heap. Hi, Andrew. And here's Ryan. Here's our testimonials. Okay. So when you have something that will just simply parse and just slurp, for lack of a better word, everything into it and give you that frame, Ryan. Oh, that is you, Ryan, isn't it? Okay, now that's Ryan. Okay, he gave us a testimonial. I promised to link back to his site for that, by the way. It wasn't a real testimonial. Okay, I'm just kidding, man. Okay, so when it slurps everything in, you just want to really make sure that they give you a deeper page. I want to point this out to you. Rebel Mouse is sort of siloed, okay? They tried. And again, when you have that 83, you can just throw some backlinks at this. And Ryan lied for the link. Sue said, I thought so. He's a naughty boy. So here's the thing, is that we just have, this is what you call aggregation. This is my point. Okay, this is my point. I'm just gonna let you guys into some like secrets, like myth busting stuff that some of you really know, but I really want to break your mindset, break your mold on all of this, because I don't want you to be thinking 95% of the stuff you hear out in SEO land is even true, you know, which is like you have to have perfect pages and all that. And, you know, this is a great way to stack, okay? Let me just go. So I call this RSS aggregation, and the distinction between aggregation is the distinction between getting a service that'll take all of your feeds from anywhere, or even just a direct link, and then republish in a larger frame that has a higher DA. And depending upon the SEO faculty of an RSS aggregator service, you're just beginning to stack your domain authority, right? So for instance, if I tweeted these individual pages, like here's an individual page, SEO. Can you guys all see that up here? SEO Silo Builder software with WP SEO Silo plugin. And they've got the Rebel Mouse code on here. Yeah, no, Jazz, you can put this will slurp you, YouTube right into it. They actually have an API. Okay. In fact, that's where you got, Ryan's beautiful face in here as I slurped it right out of our YouTube channel. You're not that beautiful, Ryan, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. All right. So the point is that Rebel Mouse is pretty vicious in what it does. It's hardcore. So here's my point. Could I add backlink? Could I use this in my domain authority stacking model? Yeah, in fact, Jimmy Kelley talks about it, I think with Mike Pierce, as far back as 2 years ago before the service was as awesome as it is. And we have a whole model inside domain authority stacking where we talk about it in a webinar, and it's actually gotten much better, okay, as far as I know. And for instance, you can see, I think you were, Jazz, I think you were talking about YouTube. Well, here's our YouTube channel funnels right in. So I'm getting juice from this to YouTube, okay? Ah! Okay, it's Ryan again. It's Andy. It's Marvin. Marvin's a certified advisor. Okay, so you've got the whole thing now. So this is passing some juice, right, to it. Now, could I backlink to this? You bet I could, right? You can use this in the same model. It's just all, turtles all the way down, guys, gals. Okay, so that's an example of an aggregator service. Okay, now let me just show you something else. Like paper.li is a nice service. I agree with Ryan that there's some problems right now, and I'm working on it. I'm actually working on it internally with them just because so many people bug me about it when it's not working. Okay, anyway, you can log in with your Twitter account. It's always been a pretty good service, and I think that, let me see if we have it open right now. Okay, I'm not logged in, but it's pretty good. You can just automate that as well. And the service is a little higher in the domain authority. The RSS feed is supposed to parse. The difference between Rebel Mouse and paper.li is there is no feature inside of paper.li, and Ryan, this might be part of your challenge. There is no feature inside of paper.li that will allow you to parse your entire feed, whereas Rebel Mouse is like, to heck with it. Just stick in your feed and we'll parse the last 2 months of your stuff. Does that make sense? Another service that does this that's ridiculously expensive is Uberflip. Okay, damn them, Uberflip. Uberflip is probably the most awesome, the awesomest. Is awesomest a word? It is now. It's a neologism. The problem with Uberflip, and I told them so, I tried to communicate with them, is that they're ridiculously expensive when you have things like paper.li, and they've only got a domain authority of like 69 or 75. They're charging like $200 a month per slurp. Okay, just if you insert the word slurp for RSS aggregation, then you'll be fine. Okay, that's brain dead simple. The difference between that and something like Scoopit, and I talked to Guillaume, who's the owner of Scoopit, at least currently, about it, is that you have to do a lot of this manually. Patrick, you're doing fine. Don't worry about it, buddy. You don't have to know. You don't have to be perfect right now. Okay. Just know that there is a difference between, Patrick, if you walk away with nothing other than the difference between aggregation and curation, then you'll be fine. There's a huge difference. So aggregation would be, I don't know, let's look at one of my magazines, right? Here's a magazine to one of my free accounts. I just spam the crap out of this account because I don't care. I'm not paying for it. It's just an extra. I actually just stack Scoopit accounts. But in order to use Scoopit, you have to, every time you post an article, you have to do one at a time. It doesn't just say, okay. It doesn't say, just give me a feed and slurp it in. It gives you a feed out, but it doesn't take one in. Does that make sense? So Scoopit's great because if your magazine has a lot of DA, which this one has, Scoopit's a domain authority of 89, but they're not really, I've got a few pages. This is a page authority of 41, and this has just been sitting around for a couple of years. It's not like above a 56, which is what you want, but this is still pretty darn good. Like I'll take the links from this, right? Okay, let's see. David Duncan's pointing out news blur. There's a lot of stuff coming on every day, so you just got to keep your eye out for these things. You would have to check. So what you're really looking for when you go to a service, let me show you guys how I inspect the service, okay? Patrick's like, I re-listen to these webbies at night while I'm sleeping. Wow, dude, we need to talk. No, I'm just kidding. I'm messing with you, man. I appreciate that. So it must not be newsblur.com. But the way that you look at it is you sign up for a free account if they have one, okay? Okay, you sign up for a free account if you have one. And if, for instance, you click on their site and the page doesn't go up, you go on to the next service. No, just kidding. Right, Sue?
Next.
You taught me that one. You're like,
Right?
no. But yeah, actually, this is highly questionable. You'd be surprised how many of these services go down. Like, I can't tell you. See how many services in the last 10 years do you think have like totally screwed us over because they went down because they had a horrible business model?
94%.
And that's why Sue says only tweet thyself. Okay. Yeah, this is so horrible right now. I'm deeply concerned. So what I would do is I would check back in. Now I am on a webinar, so I have to give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. However, I didn't really have any problem with anything else. A lot of the times when these services come out, they don't scale up properly. And so you just have to be careful. Next thing I would do, Patrick or David, since you asked David Duncan asked this, here we go. Yeah, try it out. Try out and sign up and look for, it could be because I have, I never thought of that. It could have been because I had that Moz crap up there. Okay, so if you hit the try it out, and then when they give you your page, just go immediately to Moz and just check to see that you got some domain authority, okay? And remember, the holy grail of discoveries is when you have both domain authority and page authority right out of the gate. Folks, they do exist. Let the treasure hunt begin. I got a domain authority of 68, domain with the page authority of 58. Do follow out of the gate on one of these services, just simply because I knew what to look for. Okay, so no, I'm not giving you that. Okay, so not until you come to CERT. But if you look at all this stuff, does everybody understand the difference between a curation where I have to go onesie twosie, the 5 iframe punch, which was something we created for the masses, and the way that the big boys do it, such as Sue or Jimmy? Yeah, the 5 iframe punch is great, but it's not what I really want you. It's not the secret behind the secret. The secret behind the secret is total aggregation. Okay? So RSS curation actually kind of made it confusing. I invented a term called RSS curation, and I wished I hadn't. What I really meant was I should have just kept it aggregation. But RSS curation was this idea that, and we might change this word when I talk, it should be just RSS feed aggregation, okay? Because by throwing the word curation in there, I took away the single element that was important that, you know, for example, here's a client site that spent a lot of time with Sue, and she completely blew it out of the water after, you know, it was one of the last consults she did a few years back. She essentially siloed Apple Investor News. Can you guys see this? Just give me one if you can see Apple Investor News. This is a friend of ours, Frank Chiaffi. Okay. This site gets tons of traffic, and after Sue siloed it, the site just skyrocketed. All right. How many of you think that there is any created content on this site? Give me a 1 if you take a look at it. Give me a 1 if you think it's created content, or a 2 if you think it's RSS aggregation.
Oh, come on, the banners were created.
Probably not. It probably just came from the native ad service. Yeah. You guys should just know that this site generates $4,000 a month on a bad month. Okay, I really want you guys to walk away with this knowledge. This is not, again, it's one of the main themes that I know it's really not that appropriate for this webinar, but you guys are awesome. And I just want to make sure that you understand that it's the quality of the feed. When you know how Sue talks about theme relevance index? Okay, so if the work that Frank did have to do is he's a real passionate Apple investor. So he's pulled together some great feeds, you guys. Okay, great feeds. Thanks, Andy. Andy said this is awesome information. And so here's the thing, is that Frank and his team, I think he has one person managing the ads, and I'm not sure. But you know, you got a page authority, a domain authority of 50, which is not huge, but it's getting up there. When he hits 56, he's starting to get quite authority oriented.
He has no inbound link strategy.
You guys hear? Well, that's because you did the site. That's not.
I'm just saying, but he's got that because of the popularity of the site. It's not because somebody went out and did a DAS stack.
But you also themed it too. Yeah, Sue's point is well taken. I just want you guys to know this. I want to bust the myth. There's this myth out there, and you guys, know where they come from and where this is, that, Google does have a quality control mechanism. It's not about there being a right or wrong out there in internet land. There's not a thin content penalty for this type of thing because the traffic is massive. It's massive compared to other things, okay? So what I really want you to know, for example, Sue and I spent time with Frank, talking about, I was going to actually buy the patent platform for this, and Sue was like, no, it'll take me 20 minutes to make or whatever. Point is that, we play the course that we have coming up in 3 weeks, automaticbroadcasting.com, this is what we teach, essentially. Like, we don't give you this platform, and we don't teach this precise platform, but we do talk a lot about that. That's a certification standalone course that we have. You guys know that we have that course, right? Is it time for me to sell something? Yeah, here we go. We have automatic. You guys know we have the automatic broadcasting course where we talk about this like all day long, right? For 4 weeks straight. Just so you guys know, I want to make really clear that this is an advanced level thought process. I figure you guys are strong enough that we just cut through it. Okay. This countdown is wrong. I'm going to change this, but it's in a couple of weeks from now. Okay, so this is what we talk about. Automatic RSS broadcast, we're not making this stuff up, you guys. Now you have to be careful because if you come out of the gates with an RSS automation system in the third ring, again, everything that Sue talks about and everything that she teaches, you guys, we're not making this up. Like, we do this every day, okay? Is it possible for you to have here's the bottom line. Is it possible for you to have 100% automated content site that generates $4,000 or greater a month? In today's environment? You give me a 1 if you say yes, a 2 if you say no. I just want to make sure that you interact with this. Okay, I want to bust that myth right now, because as soon as you have that if you have a limitation in your mind that it's not possible, you're walking down a wrong path. When I say a wrong path, a limited path to me is a wrong path. The question is, when do you use it? You may not use this for your money site, although Frank does. I mean, it pulls in, a couple $100,000 a year or something, and when he puts all of them together. So again, this is what I'm really saying. There's many ways to do this. Okay, so that's really what I want you guys to be aware of. Now, where we talk about that on the various web ring systems is really what the whole network empire philosophy is about. So we want to make sure that you guys follow the correct things at the right time that meets your business model and agrees with where you're at in your current paradigm. We don't want you to try to do something so out there that it disconnects from your current abilities. But we want you to know that kind of stuff is possible. So when you go back to that, goes back to domain authority stacking. Okay, you may not have a site that you own the frame or the golden frame that's RSS driven, and you probably wouldn't unless you took our course that we have in 3 weeks. But if you look at things like domain authority stacking, Rebel Mouse, paper.li, I would love for you guys to share inside the Director's Cut Project B room, the Skype room. And if you're not a part of that, just contact me at ThemeZoom there and we'll add you. This is a place where, you can share these types of high domain authority stacking. And the more information, the higher the domain authority and the higher the page authority, and the easier it is to get all your content slurped in, the more power that you have. Okay. vCracken did not break on you, Ryan. You're doing something not right. Don't even get me started. Don't make me come over there. You better knock it off. I'm gonna really bust you when I find out what it is. Now we'll check it out, buddy. Okay. All right. So you guys, I'm messing with you, buddy. Ryan, I think you've had a beer or two because you're really getting pushy. I'm messing with you, bro. He gives me one fake testimonial, and he thinks.
Right.
So give me a 1 if you guys understand generally how Sue and I think about RSS aggregation and the difference between aggregation and curation. Just give me a 1 if you understand that. And also give me a 2 if you understand it. Jazz is like, hiccup. Sue, I think Jazz is doing her mead thing. She's on a mead binge.
She is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's not sharing.
No.
Not tonight.
Okay. One thing about Uberflip, guys, is it's too expensive. Just use paper.li. Between Ryan and myself, we'll call them and fix whatever's going on because there is something wrong with their parser. But we'll fix it up. And also, if you guys have any other places that you have RSS feeds, Rebel Mouse and paper.li is only one of them. There's a lot of other feeds systems out there. I'll start trying to create a list of them. Okay. All right. Good. So we've actually gone on. Sue, do you want to stop now?
We could.
Good. Does anybody have any questions as we can wrap stuff up? Oh, why is this automatic video blueprint system up on the screen? Oh, that's from the last webinar.
Yep.
I don't even want to drop that bomb. Okay, let's go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop into the window a tell me what you've learned today, okay, because that would be really awesome. And I will provide you with my special gift video, regardless of whether you give us a testimonial or not. I'm actually handing that out today for everyone. It's the first 2 hours of my talk at the live certification event, which will be greatly enhanced this year. And it's called the one big thing about your one big thing. It's about how to think about business and how to think about, it's called strength-based focus. And so there's 2 hours. It's a $30,000 event, so you're probably going to want to watch it. Just contact me privately on Skype if you've got it. And if you have anything interesting to say about today, what you learned and what you found valuable, please just go ahead and hit the link and create a video. If you're too geeky to do a video, then just write something up for us so that I can pass those on to Sue, and then she can crack the whip on you if the testimonial was not good enough. Okay? Cool.
Bourbon's got a question.
Who's got a question?
Bourbon.
Oh, Bourbon. Hello. Good to see you.
He says, is there a way to use basic blog comment spam links anymore? I have like 1 million, but I'm scared to use them.
Wow, that's a really good question. Mike feels same. Okay.
I would, like, like the quality of those just varies so much. I would say if you're going to use them, it's got to be 4th tier.
It's a really interesting thing about comment spam right now, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much any kind of spam.
Yes, I believe, Sue, you should correct me on this, okay? I believe that Jimmy is not using comment stuff anymore.
This is actually, I see now on his follow-up, this is actually GSA blog comment spam that he's talking about. So here's the thing with GSA. You want to filter your GSA stuff so that you've only got the creme de la creme. And one of the reasons that Jimmy wants to pull the GSA class is because he doesn't really use GSA anymore. There's 1 or 2 ways in which he uses GSA, but in terms of just general backlinks, he doesn't use it at all anymore. So I'll just let that comment stand on its own. And as I said, 4th tier back or further.
Yeah. I am really not, I've been watching the comment spam, and I've been watching comment spam services. I've really been watching Disk. Is anybody in here familiar with Disk? Give me a 1 if you're familiar with Disk. It's a comment automation third-party service that reframes your comments. Have you guys seen that? Give me a 1 if you have seen it, 2 if you have not. There was a time where using Disk as a service was really, really well, and then worked really, really well, and everything got kind of deprecated. I think it was back when Mike Pierce was around that was looking a lot at that. And let me see if I can find it. But I did a huge test on it, and it's only anecdotal because I didn't have any of the developers, so you should probably ignore me on this. But they let you log in, and they basically turn comments into a social platform. And Jazz saying it backfired from abuse. Yeah, everybody was trying to use the Disk, and I think what happened is that Google was just like they normally do, is just like, all y'all just crazy. Okay.
Right.
And it really didn't work anymore. But when Mike Pierce was first talking about it, it did work, like really, really well. So that's really what I have to say about it. That comment, Matt Cutts has consistently, for so long, you guys, been at conscious and adamant war with comment spam. but I just lost interest in it. Like wherever his
Yeah.
attention, I mean, he constantly was writing about it. I mean, I remember sitting next to him at SEO conference in the end of, the late 2000s, and comment spam was just like 2 hours later, it's just like, you know what, I'm going to another session. Like, this is boring as hell. So I'm just thinking that you probably want to just move into something less obvious than
That's
comment.
exactly it.
Yeah, just go to
Because
less obvious.
think about it for a second. If you're doing comment spam,
Hmm.
that means you're commenting in an open place where everybody can comment, right?
Hmm.
And so if you've got other people commenting, somebody at some point is going to be an idiot and think that they should GSA or whatever
Correct.
the heck out of that page and lower the trust to nothing.
Yes,
And then your previously good comment is now a piece of garbage,
indeed.
and it links to your site. And when you get enough of those, it tips the balance over into penalty. So, that's why the stuff that we talk about doing, the stuff that we teach, it's evergreen. We try to make it as evergreen as possible. And so the whole thing behind a DAS is you control that environment, right? You control the user account, and you control how it's posted, and it doesn't mean that somebody couldn't come along and backlink to you, but they have no reason. They're not trying to do it to themselves. They're trying to hurt you. It's obvious, it's an attack as opposed to, oh, I think I'm doing a really good thing because I don't know anything about SEO. So
Exactly. And the one thing I would say for everybody, not to interrupt you, Sue, I'm sorry, were you finished? I didn't mean to.
not quite,
Okay,
but go
continue.
ahead.
Just remind me. I don't want
I,
to forget the thought on comment
I
spam.
lost my place, so go
Oh
ahead. It's
crap!
all
I'm
right.
sorry.
It's been a long day.
Yeah, it really has. Um, the only comments that I find interesting is one that probably none of you guys will want to use unless you have a high-paying client, and that's live fire comments. Because you'll find that you're getting the juice because you're paying a ridiculous amount of money for them. And what they do, again, they're the same empire thinking that Sue is talking about, is they deal with your stuff across many, many platforms, right? These guys own Storify, which is part of the domain authority stacking and the rest. Okay, so again, my point here is only that I'm finding comments that work are really well integrated into almost like a WebRing-like system where they're thinking about mass content broadcasting. And what they're trying to do is simply integrate into everything. Does that make sense? Okay. So I want to make these are like enterprise level applications that really only your big top guys are going to use. And Storify is an example of that. I use Storify for domain authority stacking. When I built the the iframe punch method, Storify was free. Livefire bought Storify, and then they created a universal comment platform. Now those comments do really, really well because you're getting all the juice from Livefire's multiple platforms, which has a massive traffic. Okay, but that's not free stuff. So I just want to make you guys aware about how to think about it. Anytime it's free, you're going to see a lot of changes that come out because it gets exploited a lot faster. People aren't paying $500 a month for it or $1,000 a month. Okay, cool. All
Yeah.
right, you guys, you're
So
awesome.
Ryan said, what do you think about Facebook or YouTube comments? And so this kind of reminds me a little bit about what I was going to say. I want to control the frame as much as possible,
Yeah.
right? So if I'm posting on a YouTube video that I don't control, I'm not responsible for that account. Like anything could happen to that account, anything could happen to that page. Again, you're just kind of opening yourself up to a bunch of unknowns. And I try, when I'm doing my backlinks, I want to control that as much as possible, control that frame as much as possible, have as few vectors as possible where somebody else is likely to screw something up, because it takes my time, or I'm paying somebody else to make those backlinks, right? So I just tend to not go that way personally.
Absolutely. Sue will continue to tell you guys that again and again, and it will remain true probably for the duration. We have a pretty good idea of where the web is going. Okay. I can only say that because I work with ridiculous developers, who understand layers upon layers of development and how commercial markets drive that development. And what you're going to see is more and more integration, more and more companies trying to control the frame, like ours, and making sure that you have platforms you can sit on that allows you to broadcast your content more easily. And so you can focus on creating great content. And the bottom line is that those frame wars, the difference between our company and a lot of things out there is we really, really, really want you to understand the difference between your core power and the power that companies like Livefire, which I just showed you, would have you believe are yours. Okay, that's a huge distinction that we actually have on our manifesto. If you give all of the power and all the core content to third-party companies that are controlling your content, there's a lot of them, okay, like Riddler and all these different things. You need to have your own at the core of your money site. You really need to control that content. You need to have a server, and at a business level, at an infrastructural level. And again, this is really, this is one of the things that Sue champions incredibly well. And she keeps everybody else on point in our company about it. And they say, oh, I can make it larger. Wait a second. I was never able to
How
do
did
that
you do
before.
that?
I was like, damn. Well, all I did was like go up here to this doohickey, and I clicked this who's my what's it, and I went to the 175. Okay, so here's the bottom line. This is a huge distinction, and then we'll just close this for the day because it's a distinction that I have to sometimes remind Sue that we make. It's huge. It's monstrous. All the companies out there that are evolving around these massive software infrastructures like she's building, they really don't tell you the truth about control at the digital level. They would love for you to believe that your primary money site and all the content you distribute is safe inside those third-party frames, what we call WR2 frames. Okay, it's really bad to do that. You're better off learning your server-side stuff and having your own backup plan and your own, in other words, really make sure that that core content is yours, as you have backups, and that you're only tweeting and socializing and distributing to those secondary layers. That's why we have the S layers. Okay, those third-party services, even ones that I'm paying for, such as Livefire and the rest, I really only want to be tertiary or secondary. Would you agree with that, Sue?
Yeah, at least secondary. I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Secondary, right?
Even if I'm gonna, even if it provides me, like Facebook provides me the opportunity to set up some kind of store on it, Amazon, they're all third-party platforms, and so
Exactly.
God, if my bread and butter, like if my family is relying on a third-party platform
Oh,
and something happens, I
we've
don't have
seen it.
control over
We
it.
watched it with
I
Ramona. We
have.
watched it. Yeah,
Oh
we've
my
seen it.
gosh, I've watched so many friends and
We watched it
members.
happen to me on a couple of platforms. Fortunately, at a less, a few years back. Unfortunately, to a much lesser extent, like Posterous. Remember that? We lost some
Yeah,
DA. But imagine
yeah,
that your transaction is taking place on those third-party platforms and they go
exactly.
down.
And I know people who have had, Yahoo stores and gosh, just places where their account for no reason, seemingly, gets pulled, or the platform doesn't have a sound structure
Right.
for
Right.
finance, and so it goes belly up, and it does it without warning. And then where is your family? Like, how are you putting food on the table next month? So those are
Yeah.
the things that scare me, right? And
And
so,
yeah,
so one of the
exactly.
questions that Ryan came back and asked, and he says, like, it looks like it would be worth it for the power and the trust. And what I'm going to say to that is there's thousands of ways to get power and trust, right? And all you got to do is dig a little deeper. Everybody is going to go for the fast way out. 99.9% of the people
Yeah.
out there, they're looking for the quickest
Yeah.
fix to rankings.
That's right.
And because everybody is looking for the quickest fix, those are the things that Google is going to penalize the quickest, right? Those are the things that are going to have the biggest Achilles heel because everybody is rushing toward it. So either you got massive numbers of people doing stupid things, or you got Google looking at it going, we should fix that. So dig a little deeper, go off the beaten path. Don't do what everybody else is doing. It's okay if it takes just a little bit longer. You'll still get there. You'll still make more money, and it'll be evergreen for a whole lot longer.
That's right. And Sue is probably not going to leave that soapbox for the next few years, probably towards forever, actually, because
Never, ever.
it is actually a consistent core, and it's something that I realized, Sue, just you and I haven't really talked about this, but it's gotten really heightened over the last 4 months because of several things that have gone down, and it's always been true. There's nothing new here. Control, developers. The advantage of having a team of developers and being in our community is that we are development driven. We are not persuasion driven. Of course, Russell Wright talks about persuasion architecture and the rest because, the persuasion artists are at a minimum. We are a minority at Network Empire. Okay, I'm the only one. Everybody else is developers. Like half of the conversations, they're speaking code, and I'm doing my damn best to keep up with them. But here's the advantage of that. The advantage of that is that they know where the power structure is. They know where your central structure is. Okay, and one of the things I want to emphasize is that, 4 years ago when Sue and I created Social Explosion Concepts, it was all about only tweet yourself, only communicate yourself, so that, social platforms and all those tertiary and secondary systems are pointing back and increasing the DA, and the authority and ultimately the traffic to that primary site. Okay. And Sue, actually, this has been inspiring for me because I really do want to restructure that hierarchy because that's a huge distinction from all the other services that are out there. We don't want to sell you something where, you're putting all the power into it. An example of that would be, for instance, I'm saying this diplomatically, but for instance, let's say that let me give you a perfect example in real time with a client that I'm consulting with right now, and Sue could give you like 100 stories, all right, because she's got a lot more experience with this than I do. But I have a client right now where this person decided to use Amazon as their WR1 platform. This is a perfect example, right, Sue? Can I do this? Okay.
Yeah.
They did not have, Jazz is like, oh no. Now, that doesn't seem like that bad of an idea if you're just getting involved in business, but you should never leave your day job or any of these things if Amazon, if Jeff Bezos and his personal philosophy and ideology about how to manage people and the rest of the public is essentially your CEO, or he's essentially the manager of your frame. So you're essentially hiring Jeff Bezos as an IT manager and a marketer and the rest. Now, it seems like a good idea because they've got all the platforms, right? You go over to China, you pick up products, you sell these things on there. Hey, you can make some money, right? But what happens what about the emails? Like, Amazon's making great headway in giving you power back to the emails, okay? There's been a lot of complaints about that. And there's a lot of evolution happening. They're in their beginning phases. But a lot of folks had made, $10,000, $15,000 worth of sale, which is awesome. And they never got the email of a single customer. Okay, you guys see what I'm saying? It's like, you got to be kidding.
Because the power is in the list.
The power is
Once
in the
somebody,
list, right?
it costs money to acquire somebody, to acquire a client or to acquire a prospect, and then the chances are if they have a transaction with you and it's not horrible, they will buy something else from you. But how are you going to tell them that you have something else that they're going to want if you don't have their email address?
Exactly. I know this seems obvious to you, but a lot of this is business development. It's not obvious to a significant amount of people that are excited about a business opportunity, right? And business opportunities are great. And hey, we love Amazon when used properly. In fact, we jack domain authority from it. Oh, did I say that out loud? All the time. But just understand what the power is, the flow of power. And although Jimmy couldn't be here today, that is a key function. I didn't mean to have this turn into a business lecture, but I am actually urging Sue over the next couple of years to really come out more and more than she does. It's one of those things where she's good at so many things, but one of the things that is kind of hidden because she's so much in development is the degree of business common sense and extreme acumen that she has that is not common for everybody else. And that's actually coming back around now because we've got students who've been with us for 10 or 15 years. They're like, like that one person, Sue, oh, thank God for telling me not to use that third-party shopping cart to put all my products and invest $30,000 in. Yeah, remember that? It's like, I'm so glad I invested in my own infrastructure. Okay, so let's take one more question here. Andy is saying, as a not if this then that used to allow a backlinks to, I don't understand, Andy. Seller Central, Amazon.com. Okay, that's Jazz. Andy, can you rewrite that? I do not understand. Oh, yeah. Okay, Andy, you're right. I'm sorry. I got you, Andy. A lot of these, and Jazz mentioned that earlier, think about these sites, like even Rebel Mouse and the rest. Okay, think about that. One thing I want to put from the Sue Bell perspective on things, which is incredibly important, okay, the technology-driven intelligence of where real power lives in an informationalist society, okay, is that Rebel Mouse could go away, okay? And of course, Network Empire News might take a hit or whatever and the rest. But we don't lose our core business functions. You see how the power is really, I know it seems obvious to some of you, but not to everybody. If you dedicate too much time on a platform that you can't control, you really do run the risk of losing that platform. So you don't want the transaction to be on any of these third-party sites, okay? You really don't want to. Okay.
Yeah.
I know it's so obvious to Sue that I don't think we talk about it enough, actually. It's obvious.
One of the other things that I looked at, Russ, early on was as social media, like somewhere around 2009, as social media really started to hit, and blossom.
Yeah.
And you would spend a lot of time
Oh, let's not talk about
engaging
that.
people.
Let's not talk about that. Let's not dwell on the past, shall we? Well, you guys, okay, here's the thing. It's
No,
like,
here,
go ahead.
it's
Marketing is like social. I was very passionate about it because it seemed like a good idea, but I had to
and it,
re-engineer it, right?
it's great, but
Mm-hmm.
like if you're carrying the conversations on a third-party platform, like think about it. It's like what we talked about earlier when we were in Network Empire Builder.
Mm-hmm.
You have to think about your time as though you're paying yourself, right? Your time is an investment into your business,
Mm-hmm.
and you need to stick a dollar value on it. So now imagine you're spending hours and hours and hours helping to build somebody else's business because you're on their platform and you're providing original content, engaging clients in a conversation, not on your own website. And
Precisely.
something happens. They sell, they go out of business, their domain goes out from under them, whatever the heck happens. Now all of that time, all those hours, all that money that you spent engaging is gone.
That's right. And one of the major lessons from a technology-driven community of entrepreneurs that you develop from us, it's not easy to see. In fact, Sue and I have been talking. We're going to really bring this to the forefront because it's actually a massive distinction, is where the power is in the informationalist society, this new thing that's being built. You can feel it as
You can.
Amazon starts to take over. Did you know that Amazon is responsible for greater than half of the online e-commerce in the world?
Yes.
I told this to somebody and they said, no way. They came back to me 2 hours and then they found all the stats. Guys, half of the online wealth in the world is being manufactured and siphoned from markets by Amazon. That's their power infrastructure. What recourse do you have? Is an Amazon store the solution? Totally not. If I came to Sue and said, Sue, I built this awesome Amazon store, I mean, like you can do things like bookstores or whatever, right? Like I remember, what was it, Sue, in 19, like, whatever, I built the Theme Museum bookstore. Remember that?
Yep.
That's okay, right? I'm only using it, for instance, for to give people the ideas of what we teach, right? But
Yeah,
if I,
absolutely.
but this is a third-party application. Amazon can delete it at any time, right?
Right.
So this is not, this is an idea churn. We have no risk. It's not included in anything. It's not part of our WR1. They're very tertiary and optional core infrastructures. And of course, in our other training courses, we teach you about backup and IT debts and paying yourself. And of course, I'm encouraging Sue to teach a lot more about core business infrastructure, because then you'll actually be able to start adding 2 or 3 zeros onto your income, which I've done by working with her for the last 10 years. Okay, this is really, really important. Jazz is like, don't tell me about backups. All right, so we kind of went off on a tangent today, but that's good because I'm very passionate, actually. I'm championing a new idea, championing.
Championing.
Yeah, this new idea that's not so new. It's that I didn't really realize that so many people are not clear on stuff that, for example, Sue teaches and takes for granted. It's just in her bones. It's a lot of the times, this is true for all of us. We teach, and that's true for me too. What we think, she has so much value that we just really have to start moving into that, making sure that you guys are all centralized and you have your power structures backed up. And because we really want to empower you to really understand how I was not a data person until I started working with our team. As the minority in my company, as a persuasion architect, the real power is in the infrastructure. It is in the data, or as Jerome Lanier calls the primed servers. Okay, and I want each and every one of you to be incredibly empowered. And one of the challenges with SEO, including domain authority stacking, is we just want to emphasize again and again that you're coming from your power center, that you invest the amount of time that you need in pulling together your big idea, your brand, and your products. And if you use Amazon, for instance, you would have a backup of all of your storefronts. So is that how you would do it? You would have your stuff available on other platforms, right?
I would have a storefront on my own domain that I own,
Mm-hmm.
and I would include, if I'm going to have Amazon do the shipping for me, I would have included in that a pamphlet or a card or something.
Nice.
The most effective thing is a 10% off card
Yeah.
or something along those lines, right?
Exactly.
And the dub back to my e-commerce site.
All
You
about
only
you.
Yeah, you only get that 10% if you come shop on my store, because then I have your email. I am in control of talking to you. You're on my center stage now. And I
Exactly.
know a lot, the places that, and I spend a lot of money on Amazon, if only because I really enjoy watching how other people are doing their e-commerce there.
It is interesting,
And
yeah.
yeah, and so the companies that I feel are the ones that are going to last are the guys who are putting out the 20% of their products that sell really well out onto Amazon. They take the hit on that margin because
That's
Amazon
right.
takes a cut,
That's
right?
right.
But because they sell a lot of those products, they can afford to take the hit, and because they sell a lot of it, they get more customers back into there. So they're basically using Amazon as a lead gen.
Exactly. Exactly. And Sue, I'm going to give our audience like the greatest takeaway that I've ever learned from you.
Ooh.
You know, it's a big deal. That's why I'm doing the pregnant pause drama thing. Okay. It's so big of a deal that I can say that probably the extra zero I have on my income since 2000 whatever is because of this. Okay. And I'm making a big drama about this because otherwise you won't hear it. Okay. When Sue says only tweet yourself or only drive traffic back to yourself, it seems obvious in the rest, but it really doesn't. If you feel distracted by social media, okay? One of my friends, for instance, is a very well, in fact, probably too well of a known online internet marketer. He actually has his students immediately create a Facebook feed blocker plugin in their Chrome browser so that they no longer have access to the Facebook feed. I'm kidding. It's my friend, Dr. Ben Atkins. I'm serious about that.
Awesome.
Okay, so listen, but it's beyond that. I want to take you guys the next level beyond that. If you find information and you're curating information in your field and you feel distracted and you feel that share impulse, y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? It's like, that is so cool. I've got it. How can I use that? How can I twist that? How can I curate that? Whatever excuse you make, okay? If you do not have the time or the energy and you feel that sense of tension to scrape or scoop that idea into your own golden frame, that is your own blog, okay? Let me make sure that we all understand what we mean. That means that you own the server that thing is sitting on. A golden frame does not include infrastructures that you do not control the server or have somebody on staff or have somebody that you trust or have backups of or understand the hosting company or are able to update the software or able to change the ads, okay? Does everybody understand what I mean by that? If you are not able, if you don't have the time to take that interesting idea that you found in some social media network, and if you ask yourself, is this really going to add money to my bottom line? Okay, we call this the golden monetization frame. If you just simply do not have the time to add it and scoop it into your own blogs or turn it into content or have somebody on staff to do it, you're distracted. And even if you decide to take the time to do that and you ask yourself the simple question, when I scoop this article and write a comment on it or add it to one of my feature releases or news releases, what product that I am currently selling that I make money on, does this correlate and is this congruent with that I can easily make a flow from that idea to the idea of what you're selling? If you cannot
Exactly.
easily find that, stop. You are wasting your time. Not only are you socializing for somebody else, and you're also wasting your time. Okay, so only tweet yourself, only scoop yourself. We talk about this on week 2 in our certification in meme jacking and content curation, where we talk about this. This is the biggest time suck of anything that I have ever seen. And it's all about what Sue's saying. It's driving you back to your money site and making sure that you own the power structure. All that Sue is trying to do is make sure that you're empowered, that you own your digital infrastructure. Okay? And I know it could seem small, but it's a very, very big deal. And when she says only tweet yourself, she means literally, if you are not pulling energy to your core financial economic infrastructure, if you're not going deep, then probably you're distracted. And what I'm going to do today for each and every one of you here is I'm going to be giving you a very special video, okay? And this video actually includes it's actually a product of the last 10 years of my time being mentored by Sue Ba. This is from our live event. It's 3 hours long. Okay, it's 3 hours long. I'm only giving it to the people that are on this webinar. Okay, and it's all about driving infrastructure to your core hub and how to make sure that you're A, doing only what you should be doing, 2, building trust and building your brand, 3, owning your core infrastructure, 3, only tweeting yourself first. Okay, I'm going to give it to anybody who privately contacts me on Skype. I'm giving you that only if you contact me privately on Skype, because this will literally, like me, add another 0 or 2 to your income. Okay, and you're not hearing this stuff out there. You will not hear this in business opportunity. And once you get clear with this kind of thing, Andrew just asked me a question which is related. Where do microsites belong? Where do sales pages belong in your empire? And these types of things. Soon I get into that and some of other of our advanced courses. Okay, because the microsites are actually they actually belong. They're branded by you, so they do belong in your web ring, but they're a different part of the funnel. Okay, but once you understand that core infrastructure, then everything in your empire falls into place. You understand when something is and is not a waste of time, when you're bleeding and hemorrhaging money, when you've engaged in tasks that are meaningless. Okay, in my lecture for 3 hours, I explain the difference between less but better. Okay, getting rid of everything that you don't need and what is actually important and adding that extra 0 or 2 to your business. When you have these things in your body, that means when you're clear, you'll take the business mechanism and you'll be able to easily use all the technology we're giving you. And I want to just create a caveat here. That video that I'm giving you as part that came from last year's $30,000 course, at 2 hours or 3 hours, was created for the sole purpose of preparing you to use the technologies that Sue and our highly paid development team has created. Because without that infrastructure, you could actually blow yourself up and accidentally build nothing of value because you gave all your power away. Okay, so I think we can close it with that, really. Any questions?
I think
All right, you guys, this has been Russell Wright and Sue Bell. This is the Director's Cut and Project Breakthrough, actually, is where we're at right now. If you have something positive to say and you've learned something, please do fill out the, there's a video testimonial and or contribution area, or you can just email us something. Also, please feel free to request perfectly. I can see I'm getting hammered by Skype. So apparently a few people want that. I'm going to go ahead and give you that. And if you have any questions, come on into our community. You know, at the very minimum, you can sign up for the $49 a month. This is the stuff we talk about every day. I mean, you never know once you get to Tequila and Sue what she's actually going to tell you. But, you know,
What?
Jimmy told me a secret that made us something like $17,000 in 3 months. Okay, like, I mean, in 1 month. I mean, these are things that just, I have to run around and collect all the rainmaking power that comes from this team. So I want to see you inside this community. I want to see you inside of our Skype rooms. I would like to see you download our plugins and ask the right questions, and do not hesitate. And when you have something to say to me about what you'd like to see or improve or a question that's not being clear, I want you to hit me up, because we're making this better and better, and we want to create 1,000 millionaires. Okay, and it doesn't seem like a lot of money to everyone, but I would love to see you guys add at least 1, if not 2 zeros at the end of your income and own the infrastructure when you're done and not having given all that power away. I've got a friend who's making $82,000 a month on Amazon, and he's not collecting a single email. Done. Not going to happen. Not with people I care about. All right, you guys. Russell Wright, Sue Bell. We will talk to you on the inside. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.